Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. I'm not at Old Trafford, which means one thing. You all know the dance. It's live, so get involved in the comments and the chat. Let us know what you think about the latest stories. Give us a heads up if you're ITK, right? If you've got any insider knowledge about anything going down, let us know. We've got loads to get through this morning. We're going to be talking about Manchester United coach exodus. The times they are changing, as someone once sang. Kieran McKenna has obviously gone to Ipswich. We'll be looking at that. We'll also be looking at potential players that are leaving. Potential players that are leaving? Does that even make sense? Players that are potentially leaving, I think, will be the more grammatically correct way of saying that sentence, including Anthony Martial and Edinson Cavani. I don't like this. Edinson Cavani could be going to Barca. Now, I was talking about how this rumour was nonsense not so long ago in Transfer Review outside Old Trafford, saying that won't happen. Now it looks like it could. So we'll get into that as well. So let us know what you think about all this. And as Stelios P says, like the video. Well done, Stelios. Get involved and like the video as well. And if you're not doing, subscribe to the channel. So, Kieran McKenna. It's all officially announced. The club, Manchester United, put a statement out last night saying Manchester United first team coach Kieran McKenna has been confirmed as the new manager of Ipswich Town. The 35-year-old is joining the League One club on a 3.5-year contract as the permanent replacement for Paul Cook. Gives a little bit of a background on Kieran McKenna and what he'd done. It goes on to say, Kieran joined United as an under-18s coach, quickly enhanced his growing reputation, being promoted to the first-team staff under Mourinho. He was a prominent part of Solskjaer's backroom staff and was subsequently in the dugout as usual for the recent matches under interim boss Ralph Rangnick. However, the Northern Irishman has accepted the chance to take up a first managerial opportunity with Ipswich after United granted him permission to speak about the vacancy. Got a couple of quotes from him as well. He says, it's been a great honour to work for United last 5 years. All the usual stuff. I'll always be grateful to Mourinho and Solskjaer. I mean, it's one of those. It's confusing in it for me. I'll be honest with you, with McKenna and coaches and things like that. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on the coaching staff and certain coaches that they like and they don't like, and certain coaches that they feel don't do anything, or certain coaches that they feel like the important cog in the backroom staff that makes everything tick. Now, Kieran McKenna's reputation has grown. It's obviously grown because he's ended up, being a coach at Manchester United, one of the biggest jobs in the world. But there's been a little bit of a backlash when people are looking at it going, oh, well, he's part of the problem. He needed to go when Ollie left and all this sort of stuff. And we were just talking off camera, me and producer Cal, and we were saying about the thing with coaches, because producer Cal, unfortunately for him, is an Ipswich fan, and he was asking me, what do you reckon? And I said, well, the thing is, in my lifetime, the three sort of most successful coaches we've had at United in terms of the trophies we've won have been Brian Kidd, Steve McClaren, and Carlos Queiroz. Now, under Brian Kidd, we won a load of titles and doubles and stuff. Over Steve McClaren, literally within 6 months of him arriving, we'd won the treble. And with Carlos Queiroz, we won the Champions League and multiple Premier Leagues as well. So all those coaches were well respected and revered and highly thought of. Fergie praised them all. Fergie bigged them up and said they're an important part of what I do here. They're an important part of our success. Yet all three of them left United. And if I'm being kind, flattered to deceive. You look at Brian Kidd, he went from United to Blackburn, ended up getting sacked. You look at Steve McClaren, who had some success. I think he won a title in Holland. He became England manager. I think he took Middlesbrough to the Europa League final, the UEFA Cup final. But he didn't ultimately succeed, did he? He got sacked from England. He was ridiculed with the brolly and all that stuff of England. And there was also the interview where he decided to put on a Dutch accent. I know that's not really relevant, but it kind of is. And Carlos Queiroz, who went from United to Real Madrid as manager of Real Madrid, and it didn't work out. I think he was hamstrung when they sold Claude Makélélé from under him. But still, you go to Real Madrid, you end up getting sacked. I think he ended up managing Iran or somewhere like that. Forgive me if I'm getting that one wrong. But my point is, someone saying MOH101, didn't Brian Kidd go to City? He did. He went Leeds and City eventually. But the thing is, you just don't know with a coach whether they're going to make a successful manager. Some coaches do. Some don't. Everyone was raving, weren't they, about, Arsenal fans, as usual, were raving about Arteta when he got there. Oh, he's the man that's works wonders with Pep. He's the real genius behind Pep's success and all this stuff. especially after you beat City and then won the FA Cup. And yet, where have they finished in the league? 8th or whatever. So the only way to find out is to give him a job. He's obviously got a good reputation. He's obviously worked at a very high level from a coaching point of view. We'll have to wait and see whether it works out for him. It's just interesting that now we have seen, as the thumbnail says, this sort of exodus, this sort of changing of the guard, shall we say, with Manchester United coaches and what's happening. One of the sort of issues that's been raised is, do United have too many coaches? Now, you think, can you have too many coaches? Well, you can. You don't need like 11 coaches or whatever for the first team. I'm not saying we've got 11, but you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you look at our dugout and it looks like a first team squad. So you think, do we need that many people? Now, a few months ago, or about 18 months ago, a year ago, the coaching staff on that pitch, on that thumbnail you've seen, it was Michael. It was, I said Michael Carrick first. And it was Solskjaer, it was Carrick, it was McKenna, it was Emilio Alvarez was there as a goalkeeping coach. Then you had, I think, Martin Pert came in as one of the coaches as well. There was a whole host of these coaches. And now they're pretty much all gone, other than Michael Phelan. Michael Phelan's still there. Ralph Ragnick's obviously come in. He's brought in some of his own people as well, the likes of Chris Armas and Sasha Lenz. So it does feel like there's a big change going on at Old Trafford. Throw into that mix as well, you've got John Murtagh and Darren Fletcher. They're part of the setup. Darren Fletcher's obviously a part of the coaching staff because you see him in the dugout, you see him at the training. Now I always get this confused, he's technical director in it. John Murtagh's director of football. You don't really see him having that sort of hands-on approach. But yeah, it does feel like there's been a lot of changes going on recently. Obviously, the biggest change is Ollie's out and Rangnick's in. But it does feel like there's been a change with the coaches as well. Let us know what you think about it all. Are you optimistic with these changes? Are you concerned? Do you think it's long overdue? Some people already are saying Mickey Phelan needs to go as well. But again, I don't know. And I think, I'd love to speak to some players or whatever about this who are at United or people who've recently left. Who does what at United? I've always thought of Mickey Phelan as being a sort of a good sort of conduit between the manager and the players. Seems to be that sort of relationship. That's what he has. Now, he had that under Fergie. He's had it under Ollie. Can he have that under Rangnick? We'll wait and see. Jack Wilson says, morning, Jay. Kessie or Hadara up the Paddock. Yeah, I've been linked with a few players, haven't we, including the ones you mentioned. This Hadara seems to be a good player. I don't know a lot about him, but the more I look into him, he does seem to be a decent one. Let us know what you think. And thanks for your support. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan, who's a big supporter of the channel, says, how's Ralph getting the praise for Kieran and Michael leaving? Are people praising him? Is that a thing? Like, are people going, oh, well done? Fair enough if they are. Let us know what you think. I mean, I don't mind a manager, bringing in his own staff and changing the coaching staff. I think you need to sort of be careful on the extent to which you do it. I always think back to, I know this is different because when this happened, these were very, very successful coaches. When David Moyes came in, he made what proved to be a fatal mistake straight from the off. He changed the coaches. The likes of Rennie Merlenstein, Michael Phelan left, and he brought in Jimmy Lumsden and Steve Round. He also brought in Phil Neville, I think, was playing a part, and he promoted Ryan Giggs to a sort of coaching role. Now, the problem with that is, on paper, it looks like it kind of made sense. You've got a new manager coming in who wants to have his own staff around him. All right, I understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And at the time, I think I tweeted, before anyone digs out my old tweets, I can understand a manager wanting to bring in his own staff, even though I thought it was a bit dodgy. Now, it didn't work out, did it? Jimmy Lumsden and Steve Round should never have been anywhere near the Old Trafford dugout unless they were in the visitors section. Ryan Giggs, from what we heard from reports, felt marginalised. He felt like he wasn't having a lot of input. I think the only input he got was when he eventually took over as caretaker. And Phil Neville, it's a bit vague as to his input, but again, you could argue, yes, he didn't have a success as a player, but was he a coach that was the calibre that United need? I'm not so sure. And his career afterwards hasn't done anything to make me think otherwise. So you need to sort of have limits with it, because I felt had we kept the same coaching staff, David Moyes simply comes in and takes over from Alex Ferguson, maybe it'd have been different. Maybe we could have just kept that sort of momentum that we had under Fergie, and it would have been a smoother transition. But it didn't work out, and it might not just be that, to be honest with you, a lot of reasons. But yeah, it's a strange one with coaches, and I think you have to have a sort of balance of bringing in your own, keeping some of the old guard, but not having a complete change. We'll have to wait and see as well. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about this. Do you think that, are you happy about it? Jack Wilson says, I just can't agree with everyone saying get rid of Phelan. He's got great history, surely a good bloke to even just have around the ground. Let us know what you think. I've met Mickey Phelan. I interviewed him once at a Red Carpet event. Spoke very well. Seems to, understand, obviously you'd expect him to, what the United are about in terms of bringing through the youngsters and nurturing young talent and things like that. We spoke at the Busby film premiere, so that was a sort of theme, because obviously Busby pioneered that, not just at Manchester United, but in football, he was the first manager that went, you know what, I'm just going to use all these kids and I'm just going to win everything with them. So he does have that. He does seem to have a good relationship with the players. He seems to be a likeable person. Steve interviewed him on, I think, did an interview on Rio's channel with him. He spoke very highly of him. But is that enough? Is that what Ralph Rangnick needs and what the players need? Do they need a break? Do they need a break from what ultimately, even though I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wasn't a successful spell? I know there was positives. I don't buy into the fact he was a disaster. He wasn't. But what ultimately didn't end in success, do they need a complete break from that? Let us know what you think. Lots of people getting in the comments. Ian Madalana or I can do this. Ian Mad Lenya. It's not that hard, is it? Sorry, forgive me for that one. It says Moyes woeful. I agree with that one. Darren Shuttleworth says Phelan was one of the few positives in our backroom staff. Chezen Suckit says, no offence to Phelan, but I think the game is beyond him now. You see, it's quite a divisive topic, innit? People are saying, oh, well, some people saying he was a great guy. Some people saying, no, we need to move on. Let us know what you think. And hit that like button. I think we've got nearly 1,000 people watching. Only over 100 likes. Hit that like button. You might not like what's happening, but you can like the video. Give us a like. Smash a like, as they say. I mean, someone else, Chris Downey says, watching from and I know mine in Australia. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too as well. If you're not doing, make sure you check out even the 12 Days of Paddock on the members section, where we've got a giveaway where you can win a host of prizes, including a PlayStation 5. The whole sort of situation with the coaches, we'll see how that pans out. Ralph Rangnick's obviously got his own method of working. One thing I'm happy about, though, is the fact we've got in a psychologist. I think it's stupid that Manchester United didn't have a sports psychologist who was in-house. Who was, I know this. I think they work with outside psychologists and bring them in. But you need someone who's a full-time, dedicated sports psychologist. We nurture, we look after the body, don't we? In life, not just in football. So it's mad that we don't have that same approach to the mind, especially with these footballers who are obviously under such pressures, and we want to get the best out of them. You have to maintain them. You have to make sure you're giving them every opportunity to perform at the highest level as often as they can. So it makes a lot of sense for me that we've brought in one. Like I said earlier, it's just a bit silly that we hadn't done that sooner, but we've done it now, so there's no point in moaning about it. Right, should we move on to the next story, which is about Edinson Cavani. Now, I mentioned this earlier. Edinson Cavani, a few months ago, he was linked with a move to Barcelona, and before you all go digging out the video, I stood outside Old Trafford and laughed at it. I said, what? No, that ain't happening. We're not going to let Edinson Cavani go to Barcelona in January. He's here till the summer. He's only got 1-year deal. We need him. He's been very productive in that number 7 shirt. He's ended the number 7 curse. However, there is a fly in the ointment. He's not available a lot. And also, we've gone out and bought Cristiano Ronaldo since then. So you've now got another player who plays down the middle. You've got Cavani, who has missed a lot of football matches for Manchester United, despite the fact he's already a cult hero and we all love him. He's missed almost as many games, I think, as he's been available. It certainly feels like that. This season, he's hardly played. So you wonder whether United really need him. Do we really need a player that we can't rely upon in terms of his appearances? We can rely on him when he plays. It's just his availability. As Ronaldo Brown once said, the best ability is availability. I'm not saying he created that quote, but he certainly said it to me. So you have to ask yourself, when you look at all these factors, do United feel like they can move him on? Because down the middle, you've got Mason Greenwood, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, you've also got Marcus Rashford, who's been playing down there. You've got Andy Martial as well, but I'm going to get to him in a minute because he's been linked with the move away as well. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan, who's a member of the first team for 17 months, thanks for your support, says the fact we didn't have a sports psychologist could be why our England boys have struggled after the Euros, whereas other clubs have kicked on. Completely agree, right? It could be. We spoke to Jesse Lingard when we were full-time Devils. We sat down with him in a chippy, did the chippy chat. We're hoping to bring that back as well. And him and McCall had a really good chat. And Jesse said about having a psychologist, speaking to a psychologist. He said he has to speak to one. He's very open about mental health, which is great. I love all that. I love it when people speak openly about it. I think more, it should be something we speak about openly. And he'd asked to speak to one, and he'd done that. Now, that should be something that happens for all players, I feel. I think that should have the option. I don't think you should have to request it. I think you should have a sports psychologist which they meet with and who helps to nurture them. So, yeah, I'm glad that that has become a thing under Ralph Ragnick. King Eric Cantona of Mancunia. Jay, when the seagulls follow the trawler, I wish I had a glass of water. Sorry, I haven't got one. It is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Well said. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about Edinson Cavani, because the story is that the United star could be set for exit. The Catalan Giants are expected to be busy in January, despite their well-documented financial woes. New boss Javi, or Xavi even, I don't know why I've suddenly forgot how to say his name, has a huge rebuilding project on his hands, with the Spaniard known to be in the market for a striker. The club have been linked with a host of strikers in recent weeks, even winks. But a new name has now emerged as a potential target, and that new name is Edinson Cavani. This kind of makes sense, and I wish it didn't, because I love Cavani, and I wish it was a case of he's going to stay and score loads of goals. And there's a part of me that feels like we should keep him because he's always useful to have. He's a very sort of talented striker anyway, and also a good influence. He's been a great influence from what we gather with Mason Greenwood, good person on the training ground, and the crowd love him when he comes on in games. He gets everyone going, and he's got one of the best chances ever. But it's just not working out. It's just not. It's like it just feels like the injuries are catching up. I mean, say it's not working out sounds harsh, because he could come back into the side and score another 20 goals between now and the end of the season. I just feel like we have to be realistic. He's 34 years old. He's not played a lot since he's arrived in terms of the games he's missed as well. There was one point last season where I think he missed 9 out of 10 games, which, okay, some of it was due to a ban, but he hasn't played a lot. So you do wonder whether that could be an attractive proposition. Is there even a form of swap deal that could be done? De Jong's been linked with us, hasn't he? Could they be tempted to say, okay, we give you some money in Edinson Cavani? I know he's only got 6 months left of his contract, and we can have Frankie de Jong? Probably not, to be brutally honest with you. But who knows? I mean, I'm just looking at Edinson Cavani. He's played 5 Premier League games this season and 8 in total. 8 games in total. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on him last season. He did play 39 in all competitions, which isn't disastrous, considering he arrived late as well. But he did miss some games. I mean, like I said, he missed 9 out of 10 at one point. So let us know what you think about that one. Do you want to see Edinson Cavani stay? Do you think it's time for him to go? Get involved in the chat and give us a shout and let us know basically whether you think it's going to end in tears now and it's time to... Well, not end in tears, but it's not going to have an happy ending, is it, if he left in January? It'd be a shame for him to go without winning anything. We'll move on from one striker to another, to other. Anthony Martial. This one's been going on for a little while now, hasn't it? He's been linked with quite a few clubs, and the latest one is Juventus. It says here, Football Italia says, unhappy Man United striker Martial open to joining Juve. According to La Gazzetta dello Sport, United striker Martial is open to joining Juventus in January, with the Bianconeri considering a loan move. Now, Macca said this, didn't we? We were having a debate the other day, and he said he felt a loan move would be best all round, and I was a little bit like, not so sure. Redman07, happy Christmas, Jay. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas to all our viewers, and thanks for your support this year. Yeah, it was like Macca was saying, well, give him a loan move, because he's still only relatively young, and he might go and have a loan move, smash it, and then you can bring him back and he can still do it for United. Or you can sell him for a bigger fee than you would have got for him. My only reservation is if he goes for a loan move, it doesn't work out. You go from maybe selling him for 40 million to selling him for 30 million. Whereas if a loan move does work out, you maybe go from selling him for 40 million to 50 million. I mean, is it worth the gamble? Or should you just, if someone comes in with a decent offer, which I think is around the £40 million mark, you may disagree, I think it's worth taking it. So let us know what you think. Get involved in the comments, get involved in the chat. Do you think that Manchester United should let Anthony Martial go? Do you think that it's time for Anthony Martial to have a loan move, or do you think it's just one of those where there's still options? There's still an option, of him staying, of him being a Manchester United player moving forward. I don't think it's going to have an happy ending. I keep saying that. Said it about Cavani. I'm saying it about Martial. Daniel Kirk, who's been a member for 2 months. Hi, Jay. How are you? Love the channel. Thanks. Love you too. Thanks for all your support. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who's got involved. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not done. And also, make sure you check out the 12 Days of Paddock, because we've got a host of prizes there available for the members, including a PlayStation 5. I'll be back later on with the brew. This has been the Paper Talk here in the studio. Thanks for watching.